to where, what level do they fit into in an organizational chart, and how all that then comes forward to council. If there is a discussion taking place at the employee level right now, in the end, it's my decision. And you will only hear one opinion, because that will be the official opinion of the staff. Because we will have knocked our heads earlier. But if there's a difference of opinion between myself and a volunteer, either individually or as a committee, is that volunteer going to not bring up the fact that they had a difference of opinion? Do I have the authority to tell them that they don't have that option? That they can't bring that up to council? That they cannot provide? An example of it actually occurred earlier today in this very meeting. My recommendation was to not have a discussion about movies in the park on this agenda. And the mayor responded with, well, I'd like to hear Sparks' discussion of that. Well, I made a decision. My recommendation to council was take it off the agenda. So that
What was your reason for that decision?
because it's not ready to come forward. There's information I do not have that makes me feel comfortable bringing that forward. But what you were looking for was a second opinion.
I wasn't.
But the mayor was. The mayor was looking for a second
It's my
opinion.
understanding, well, first of all, this was on the referendum 2 years ago, and it was put on to appease the grassroots crew because of the way things were going. The voters were told, and this is the flyer that went out, I don't know how many went out, that the committees would report to you, Mike. This is what they wanted. Everybody assumed, once it passed, that this was what was going to happen. And Bob Williams assumed it, Parks and Rec assumed it, everybody assumed that's what was going to happen.
Well,
And
I didn't
it
assume.
hasn't happened, and you've got some people running wild on committees. You know that. I'm not going to call names,
But the point of the matter is that they're your committees right now.
but somebody's
So-
got to control.
So you want me to control the committees?
The town manager is the buffer between the citizens, the committees, the departments, and us. I want you to make my job easier, because I've never worked as hard in my life as I had the last year when you were supposed to be town manager. I want you to make my job easier. And I thought that's what we were doing.
I don't think the manager's job is to make the council member's job easier. I think his
You
job.
got 50% of our
is
powers
to-
when the referendum passed, Dana. 50% of the powers.
How did I get 50% of the power?
When y'all get through talking,
I'm sorry, I just-
That's
I
okay.
just-
I'm
sorry.
out of this. I'm being interrupted. You go ahead.
You got the implementation part, which was ours up until that point. All we do is legislate, and you're supposed to implement and execute. That's not happening.
Well, now let's,
I thought we set policy.
I think we're talking about committee functions right now.
That's what I thought, we're getting off the subject.
That's policy, that's
Back on the track.
legislation. Y'all don't understand the basic terms, that's not my problem.
So how do you see your role in relationship to the committees? What authority do you have over the committees?
I have budgetary authority over the committees, and I have authority to make sure that they carry out the policies in town of Summerfield.
That's it?
Those are the authorities I believe I have outright. Now, I have recommending authority. I believe I have a role in making sure that they are trying to move forward on projects, and that I can request of them to do things, and that they can trying to work with them to accomplish their goals. But my power derives from both what you assign to me and what the state law gives me. The committees are derived from your power. You created them. So if what you're asking to do, except that I still, unless additional things change, then that means that I have no authority over who is on the committee. I just have authority to manage that committee.
Well, there has to be a system of checks and balances. So yes, your authority has got to be overseeing at some point. Otherwise, there's just leaves too much room, as you know, for possible abuse.
What I think I hear, as I'm listening to this, is that council still has the authority over the committees, the power to make them or do away with them, to appoint the people, the citizens that apply. You have the recommending power to say, here are the people, and they have met all the requirements that you have given me to look at, to be sure, because we did set up a policy for our committees. And what I'm hearing is that some of the people on council would like you to have a little more recommending authority with what you think the committee should be doing. Am I wrong?
No, I don't think you're wrong. I don't want to have 3 or 4 more budget meetings next January and listen to 2 or 3 committee members go on for hours about what they want in their budget. I want Michael to make that presentation.
Well,
I want an effective utilization of time and money for what we're paying.
Well, I disagree with part of that. I do like hearing the committees. I do like having the committees appear before council, because sometimes that's the only interaction we have. When we started out with the committees, and you may not have been here, but when we first started on that first council, somebody stood up to the microphone and made a suggestion, and Bill Peterson said, we're going to make a committee and you're going to be in charge, and asked council, how about that? And that person became the chair of the committee, and they went out, and if it was to fly, they had to get community support. And that was basically how we did committees when it first started. And things got done because the citizens were engaged. They wanted what was happening. They brought the ideas forward. And that's how our committees began. And now we have more committees. It used to be there was a member of council that was on almost every committee, and that seems to still be true. I don't know do we have a committee where there's not a council member that's owned the committee? They're now serving without a vote, but they're kind of a liaison.
I think they're already represented.
And that seems to be a way that council could keep some control over it. We read all their committee reports. So, I just think that we need to discuss this and figure out if there is a problem, and if you see something that's going on in a committee that you think needs to be brought to our attention because you're closer to it, then I think you need to bring that to our attention, as you did with the other committee that we turned into the Founders Day Committee. But I don't know that I want you to say, okay, Michael, I need you to examine every committee and have that added to this already long list that you're trying to do now. I think it's a management type of thing
Exactly.
that we're looking for.
It's a management type of thing, and we have a town manager.
Well, we have a town manager, but I don't know that he's necessary, a committee manager. And, I definitely think he's in there, he's in the mix, and I'd rather see it as a partnership that we have with the manager working on the committees. But I don't know, is that the statutory thing? Is there something in there? You need to know what we expect of you, Michael, and we need to
That's
know.
what I'm trying to figure out.
Well, we need to know what you think would be the best thing. And have you been thinking about this? Have you come up with anything?
I've been thinking about it. I cannot find another jurisdiction, not that I've looked at 500 towns, but I cannot find another jurisdiction that at least on paper shows the amount of activity and a structure to their government that has as much committee activity as we have. So it would appear that we are moving into something relatively unique, which frankly for us is not necessarily unusual these days. But my biggest concern is that